Welcome back to Living Local. The warm weather housing market is starting to come to a close, but there's still a chance to find a buyer if you sell your house in the fall, in part by capitalizing on that cozy feel that comes with the season. All right, Kyle Robinson is here with ways to make your home stand out in this segment sponsored by the Robinson Group. Kyle, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So what is the first step people should do if they are looking to sell their house?
I think definitely the first step is to reach out to a professional. I think one of the biggest things that sellers do is first and foremost, they take information they hear from other people and certainly think that maybe that's the best route to go. Well, I can assure you that bringing a professional in, it's not going to cost you any money up front. You can get good recommendations, and first and foremost, they'll tell you what not to focus on. I think the biggest problem that a lot of sellers do is sometimes they're focusing on things that are not going to bring them return on investment, right? Things that buyers are not certainly concerned about, right? So it's definitely important to get a professional brought in early on, and at least at that point, they can direct you and give you information, and at that point, you can figure out what's best for you. Whether you decide to sell FSBO or if you decide to go with a realtor, at that point, you can at least make the decision that's best for you.
Right. For sure. All right. So let's talk about some of the ways, folks, get their house cleaned up and then they start decorating, and now we're in the fall season and we're going to see a lot of fall decor. Should sellers embrace the season with fall decor?
I tell sellers to embrace whatever they want.
Okay.
I'm a realtor that doesn't come in. Don't get me wrong, too much personalization can be a problem, but you still have to live your life when you're selling your house. So if you're a fall decor person, put out the fall decor. I think that people can come in, they'll feel invited. They know that you take care of your house. Certainly it can be an inviting thing. There's a lot of realtors out there that are really cautious on personal items. And I agree with certain things. If you have one wall that's got every single bit of it that's put with pictures of your family members, that could be a little bit of an issue. But live your life, make sure that you're happy and you're doing what you want to. So put out that fall decor and have a good time.
All right, wonderful. Okay, so let's talk about the outside. What should folks do to keep up with the outside? Because we always hear, I'm remodeling the kitchen and I'm fixing this up and painting, but sometimes I think folks forget about the outside.
Yeah, especially going into the winter right now. First impressions are a lot. So when a buyer rolls up to your house, that first impression when they get outside the car means a lot. So certainly get out there, get those leaves picked up, make sure that grass is mowed, try to trim those shrubs, cut the trees back if you need to. Certainly make sure that it's a good looking site when a buyer gets out of a car, because I tell you what, first impressions, that can really mean a lot, and it sets the mood of somebody walking into your home. So I highly encourage that you do spend some time on making it inviting.
Yeah, because sometimes folks are just driving by too.
Absolutely.
Just that drive-by.
Yeah, another thing to consider right now that, if you have projects and you're deciding that you're going to want to put on in the winter, if you have any chipped and peeling paint or anything that needs work outside, to try to get that done before this weather completely turns as well.
For sure. All right, let's talk about the sense of smell, because that can really sway a home buyer. What can sellers do to appeal to that?
Yeah, so I think it really has a lot to do whether or not they're occupied or vacant. Certainly animals have a lot to do with it as well, but you need to be conscientious of it, right? Because it's one of those things, especially with vacant properties that aren't open very much, you get some must in them, especially with older basements. So it's important during the summertime to make sure that you have dehumidifiers running down there. I think a common misconception is people think that dehumidifiers are a sign that something's wrong. That's not necessarily the case, right? Basements get moisture, and that's what dehumidifiers are for. So certainly I highly encourage in older homes that you look into getting dehumidifiers. In the wintertime, it doesn't play such a big role. But I encourage that you do get in there and open up the windows and you have some air drafting through the house. Make sure you're running the HVAC system, so that way you get freestanding or movement in the air. I do encourage that if you do have animals that you are receptive to feedback, because I can tell you right now, I have a dog and a cat. And somebody might come into my house and say, hey, your house smells a little bit like dog and cat. And I might not recognize that because I live in there every single day. So that's a conversation we have with a lot of sellers. Just be receptive to the people that are giving you that feedback, and let's figure out what we can do. But I will tell you that a lot of times that, depending on the situation, it could be replacing floor coverings and stuff like that, or maybe to the extent of doing some paint. But I think that plug-in Febreze, stuff like that certainly can help. We're not trying to disguise anything, but we're just trying to make it more pleasant for people to be in the house.
Yeah, definitely more appealing. All right, so is the market still, very super competitive, or are we cooling off?
Well, right now, depending on which market you're in, right? So there's specific niche markets that certainly are doing well, but as a whole in the Quad Cities, the market is starting to cool down. We started to see that about 3 to 4 months ago, where the houses are staying on the market a little bit longer. So I think that this is a time that some realtors were looking forward to, because we had a lot of frustrated buyers making offers and having to be in multiple offers, competing situations all the time. So this is a little bit of relief for not only realtors but buyers. The market's changing, and I think it's going to be a good thing. Interest rates are still low. Another thing that's on the radar right now is they're looking at a first-time homebuyer credit, similar to what they did when we came out of the '08 crash. So I'm really excited to hear more information about that. Sounds like it's going to be a pretty big amount. So if that happens, certainly that will help. If the interest rates stay low, that will continue to help. But overall, the housing market's very healthy, and I highly encourage that if you're in the market or deciding to reach out to your local real estate professional and see if it's a good time.
So what about inventory? Because I'm seeing a lot of homes getting snatched up really fast
but
around the Quad Cities. So is it still limited?
It is still limited, but inventory is rising, though. So that's what we're seeing, right? So it still is a seller's market, especially in specific areas, but the inventory is rising. So there's more opportunities, more houses for you to choose from. So if you were frustrated 12 months ago, reach out to your realtor, because I'm telling you right now, things are changing.
All right, real quick, you do have some exciting news to share with us. Tell us really fast.
Yeah, super excited. This week we launched Rave Mortgage, which is a residential lending company. It's going to be partnering with the Robinson Group. It's a separate individual company that's going to be helping all real estate professionals and all home buyers throughout the United States, and we look really forward to it. And if you want to know any information, go to ravemortgage.com, and we'd love to talk to you.
All right, Kyle, thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, this segment was sponsored by the Robinson Group. For more information, go to trgexp.com, and we'll also have those details posted on ourquadcities.com.